Sides, totals, props in the NHL tonight. We have it all here, guys. Happy Friday and welcome into Puck Time, powered by WagerTalk TV. I am Andrew McGinnis. I have Carmine Bianco and Andy Lang with me to break down the Detroit Red Wings and Philadelphia Flyers, Oilers, Rangers, and the nightcap with the Boston Bruins and Winnipeg Jets going head-to-head. Our last show before Christmas, guys. Reminder, no shows on Monday, but plenty of games and content in between over here at WagerTalk TV. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're commenting who you are betting on. And speaking of betting, Carm, let's get right into the games, brother. Let's start and talk about this Philadelphia Flyers team that, Brian and I talked back stage yesterday that I think they're going to have some regression. He said he likes the way they're playing. What about you? Is this an opportunity where they could kind of run into kind of a bump in the road, or is Detroit just struggling too much that they will not upset this Philadelphia team?
Well, happy to be here. Of course, it's Friday. It's I think our last show until Wednesday. So I'm pretty excited about a few days off, watch some sports. Andrew, I had Philadelphia yesterday against Nashville, and Philly played extremely well. But again, teams need to click on their power plays. They had a five-minute power play after a boarding call, which was a little questionable. I thought it was a 2, not a 5. But I was pretty happy with the 5. They couldn't score on it and then take a penalty with about 2 minutes left, sort of negate the final 2 minutes of that one. They played tough, but Nashville is playing extremely well as also, which I've mentioned. But I just thought this was a good spot for Philly yesterday. They didn't get the win. They didn't continue their point streak. It was 9 games in a row where they picked up at least a point. Couldn't do it yesterday. And now they take on Detroit. And if you remember, the last time they played the Red Wings, it was a 1-0 game. You don't see those in the NHL anymore. But the XG numbers in that game, the overall XG numbers were 265 to 247. So there were plenty of opportunities. It's just one of those games where the goalies played well. You look at it while Hart's not confirmed, because it was Urson in goal yesterday, it's going to be Hart tonight. They're not going to play Urson back to back. And it should be Reimer in goal. But here's the thing with Detroit, which you may want to look at, is Detroit has this is the first of their back-to-back. They play tomorrow as well against New Jersey. And Michael Hutchinson is going to make a start. So where do they start him? I think they start Reimer tonight. But with that said, Detroit needs to start scoring goals. They've got their guys back. They need to start scoring some goals. And that last game should have had some goals. There wouldn't have been a ton, but it's still, this number normally would be at 6.5. But I think the fact that Philly's playing well, I think the fact that Detroit is struggling somewhat, we're getting a number of 6, and I'm leaning over here. I think we're going to see some goals. It's kind of like what you normally say, Andrew. You look at the result of their previous meeting, and if it stayed under, you want to go over. It's sort of like I take the approach. If teams are playing back to back, I take the loser of the first game in the second. I don't want to take Detroit right now, just because I need to see something better from them, a little bit of life. And 135 seems like a good buy low price on them when you got the Flyers coming in on the second of a back to back. But I'm more inclined to look for some goals tonight, so I'm going to go over 6 in this one, and we'll toss it over to Andy for his thoughts on this Detroit Philadelphia game.
This was a tough one for me. Not a lot of props jumped out. I don't see a ton of streaks that jumped off the page. I don't see a lot of trends. So I was just, instead of looking at player props, I looked over at team totals, and I like taking 3 and taking the under for the Red Wings. I'm not going to do 3.5. I'm not going to do 2.5. I'm going to try and take 3. That way we get a push if it lands directly on 3. They've had 3 or fewer goals in 4 straight games, 3 or fewer in 6 out of 8. And the Flyers look like they're kind of playing good defense, and it looks like their goaltending has been pretty good. So I'm looking at them. They've only given up over 3 goals like one time in 9 games, and that was against Washington, and that was a shootout game. So there's really not a lot I can do with player props in this one. So I'll keep it simple. I'll take Detroit under 3. If it lands on 3, we get a push. They only get to 1 or 2, and of course 0, we cash it. So that's what I'm looking in this game.
And I think that this is one of those games where I get it with the player props, because it's just these teams are all so random. Like even Philadelphia during their success, they've been very random with who's been contributing, who's had bad nights, who's had good nights. I think one that I might look at would actually, I don't think the prop will be out yet, because as Carm mentioned, we haven't seen a confirmed starter. I think we all know it's going to be Carter Hart because Urson played last night. I might look towards Carter Hart on his save prop to the over. Detroit's message has been very clear. Get pucks on net. Stop trying to be fancy. Shoot the damn puck. And Patrick Kane, DeBrincat, all these players, they, have been a little bit selective. But over their last, I'd say, game or two, it's been a lot of shooting, high shot counts from all over the ice. The heat maps that they post about kind of where all the shots are coming from have been from just a lot of weird angles. But you know how sometimes, guys, a line looks weird on a game and you're just like scratching your head wondering what the heck's going on here? If you look at the standings, you look at the recency, you look at pretty much every statistical category and compare both these teams, you'd pretty much be wondering, why is the price in this game what it is? And I think that, for me, I'm going to do something that you don't want to do too much in the NHL. You're going to bet on regression. And I just do not think this Philadelphia team can maintain what they're doing. We saw it last night. They lose against Nashville. They were winning a lot of low-scoring games. And in a lot of the games that they were winning, even putting up 3 or 4 goals, their expected goal numbers weren't that high. And I know that their advanced numbers have been good throughout the year, but I believe this team will start to cool down. This is a very, very hungry Detroit Red Wings team that I believe is underachieving. Philadelphia is overachieving. I'm going to take the Red Wings on the money line here, guys. And it's one of those funny things where, like I said, you look at the standings, you look at the matchups, you look at recency bias, and people would say you're nuts for fading this Philadelphia team against Detroit right now based on how Detroit's playing. I like the spot for them at home. And obviously we have the back-to-back angle as well. Detroit here has only won 1 game of their last 7. However, they have been playing some tougher competition. And Carm, you mentioned it, man. That old strategy I love to look at when you got 1 game and, they met 2 weeks ago, 1-0. Hopefully we see some fireworks here in this one. And I hope it's in favor of Detroit. So I'll just take Detroit here on the money line, guys. No team totals, no funny business for me in this one. Straight up on the money line. That's all we are hoping for. Guys, I want to mention we have promo codes, and that one, Take 20, has been applicable and still is for all of us at WagerTalk.com. Take 20% off any single package available. That could be a year-long package, 90-day, 30-day, but also new customers for WagerTalk, 15% off anything on your first purchase. And Andy, you have a birthday special. It's your birthday on Saturday. Hope you have a great day, man. Tell us about that, and then we'll jump into the next game.
Yeah, it's birthday, and my birthday present to everyone else is a promo code. Merry Christmas to everybody. It's promo code birthday30. Takes $30 off a 7-day pass. No better time, as we are absolutely white hot in picks. 12-0 all sports run, 31-10 in NFL plays, 13-4 in college plays, 3-0 over the last week in NHL plays. So low volume approach has been good. When we really like our spots, we've been playing a lot more plays, and it worked. Yesterday we went 6-0, and the darts plays that I've been telling everyone about were 18-9 this week since Monday. So already stacking up the profits. Those are available on the domestic books. So just use the promo code birthday30. Gets you $30 off a 7-day pass. Take advantage of all those plays. It includes all sports, all percentages. Let's enjoy the holiday profits, boys.
Let's do it. Looking forward to a great weekend. What do you have for us? Yeah.
Sorry.
Big
I wanted
day.
to throw
He's
in a
turning
happy early
30.
birthday to Andy. I got to jump in there. I'm going to cut you off. It's okay. It's Friday.
Yeah.
Our producer's fine with it. Even if he isn't, it's okay. But we talked about Philly already. It's 40th, I'm going to guess, right? 40th?
We'll go with
Andy?
that.
Close? Okay, we're
Yeah,
good.
40. Yeah,
I
yeah.
honestly have no idea how old Andy is. I have
I'll,
no
I'll
clue.
be 44. I'll be 44 on Saturday.
44.
That's
Okay.
that's.
Okay.
I'm not 28.
All
That's
right.
like
All
Producer
right.
Dan says, just say you're
that's like
28. I'm not
that's
28. I'm
32,
44.
40. Yeah, that's 40. Well, that's an American 44. That's like 32 Canadian with the exchange. So if you move here, you get younger. Uh, Oilers
I like
Rangers,
that one,
Andrew.
Carmen.
Sorry.
I like that one. The exchange rate. When you pass over the border, Andy, you lose a couple years, or you gain some years. This is one that I'm guessing you have more prop bets on: Edmonton and New York. Not hard to find some props to like with the star caliber players of these two teams. What do you have for us in this one?
Well, first off, I'll kind of talk about what I've been doing in the NHL and how it relates to this game. So what I've been doing is just focusing on one player and trying to ride a certain streak. And the player that I have been riding, and that streak is over, was Brad Marchand, under 1.5 points. It was juicy. We hit it 3 times in a row. And then what happens? The books lower it to half a point. So we took advantage of that. So now I need another streak to take advantage of. And there's a couple of them. One of them I'll get to in best bet. But I think it's time we get back on Evan Bouchard to have a point. He went on a 13-game point streak. Now he's gone 3 games without a point. And the Edmonton Oilers, they were so hot. They were obviously going to drop a few games, and they did. And they only put up 1 goal against Florida, 1 against the Islanders. But I really like what they did, putting up 6 goals against New Jersey. And Bouchard was, he was hovering over minus 200 for a while there to have a point, and now it's dropped down to minus 165. And while that sounds like a steep price, I want to stick to this play and play it over the next 4 or 5 games and hope that I hit 80% or even 100% like we did with Marchand. So when I'm looking at this game, I'm trying to find a guy that I can play not just for tonight, but in his next few games. And I think that the price that's dropped down makes this playable for me. So I'm not really looking at shots on goal props because I can't find any trends there. But I think Bouchard's going to be making my card over the next few games for Edmonton.
Evan Bouchard has been great for them, long-term power play guy. And I'm telling you, the defensemen, I love when you bring up defensemen, Andy, because they just don't get enough love. And this day in the NHL, there's so many defensemen that are making an impact. Carm, I think you've talked about some defensemen as well. What do you have for us in this matchup? Obviously, Edmonton coming off a game last night. The Rangers are rested here at MSG.
Yeah, listen, the Rangers are playing well. I had them in Toronto in that revenge spot against the Leafs, and after they got embarrassed, at Madison Square Garden's 7-3, when the Leafs were on the second of a back-to-back. I love the dynamic this morning in this game, and I'm going to talk about the price in this game more than anything else, because the Rangers were about minus 135, minus 140. Edmonton money's coming in at minus 125, and that's because Jonathan Quick was in the faceoff circle. He was in the starters circle this morning at practice, which means he is confirmed to go tonight. So it's not Shesterkin in goal, and the line is moving in Edmonton's direction because of that. Well, let's look at a few things here. Jonathan Quick this season is 9-0-1. He has not lost a game in regulation time. He's 9-0-1. His only loss was in OT to the Minnesota Wild. And it's not like he hasn't played against the Edmonton Oilers. Lifetime against the Oilers, he's 25-11-6 with a 213 goals against average. He's actually the guy you want in goal in this spot. And now you're getting the Rangers at minus 125 because there's Edmonton money coming in when they're on the second of a back-to-back. I get it. They went into New Jersey and beat the Devils, but a lot of teams are doing that right now. So, and they woke up in the third period to do that. Second of a back-to-back. I know it's very little travel. It's through the tunnel to get there, but my friend was stuck in the tunnel for almost 90 minutes, traffic jam. So maybe that'll happen to the Oilers tonight. But with that said, I'm taking the Rangers minus 125. I don't care that it's Quick in goal. I think I'm getting a better price on a game in which I was going to take the Rangers regardless, and now I'm getting it because people are going to overreact to the fact that Shesterkin's not in goal, that it's Jonathan Quick. He doesn't have a loss in regulation this year, playing extremely well. Give me the New York Rangers minus 125 tonight.
Love it. Love that one, Carmen. The fact is that Quick has been unbelievable. And there's one team. In fact, actually, it's the team they're playing, the Oilers, that would love to have Shesterkin and Quick. I mean, most teams would love to have just one of those goalies, and the Rangers have both. The fact of the matter is, I wouldn't even say they have a backup goalie. They really don't. They have two goalies that are capable of being a starter, which is so great for them. The Oilers did lose a handful and then got back on track yesterday, but overall, their offense was actually struggling, and they got it going yesterday against New Jersey. New Jersey has issues. A lot of their issues are defensively, but I like what I'm seeing from the Rangers here. And the biggest thing from this Rangers team has been in victory, they've been shutting teams down. We talked about yesterday that Edmonton versus New Jersey had a 7. And I don't believe any of us were really rushing to the window to bet the under in that one. We said, hey, it's a 7. We know that's a key number for a total. We want the 6.5. We all liked the over in that one. 6-3 final. To me, those are still the games the Oilers are winning. When I look at some of these games the Rangers are winning, they're winning some 4-1 games. They're winning some 2-1 games. All of their games aren't messy. And I still think that Edmonton is that team that can't win clean games. They have to win like messy, high-scoring games. That's what hurt them last year in the playoffs. Like they were cashing their team total overs and still losing games. That can't happen. If you score 4 goals in a game, you better win that game. So I trust this Rangers team at home. I trust them defensively. And obviously, as you mentioned, Carm, their goaltending situation right now is a great one. So Rangers for me as well. Looking forward to it. So let's get a Rangers win for Carmine and I, and let's get 3 points for Evan Bouchard for Andy, and then we'll all be happy and have a Merry Christmas. and you don't really care about the side, Andy, so you just want some points for Bouchard. So hopefully we can get that. One more game to get into, and I just want to remind people at home that obviously there's not going to be as much content recorded over the next few days. Obviously, it's the weekend as well, but there's so much content available right now, pre-recorded videos with shelf life for all the NFL. There's college football coming up, NHL. There's so much going on. So make sure you guys are paying attention, you're aware, and you can get all that good stuff. Carm, what's going on for you, man? I know you've been red hot in the NFL. And I feel like we got to show some love to that. You have these crazy streaks going on. You're flying under the radar with the NFL. What do you have going on this weekend? And what do you have for Boston and Winnipeg tonight?
Yeah, first off, 2-2 in the NHL last night. I feel a little unlucky that I went 2-2. Vancouver in overtime, a 2-0 with the goalie. And I was venting about it before we went to air. I'm like, you got to practice these things. A 2-0. You got to score these ones, man. They should have won that game in overtime, and they were like plus money. I had 4% play on that one, but Calgary as a 4 and Arizona pretty much evened up my night at 2-2. But 3 soccer plays this afternoon. Today and tomorrow are the final games before the winter break kicks in. Going to have a couple NHL plays up for tonight. And then NFL, I got the plays loaded. I'm just doing the write-ups, and then they'll be available for purchase. Having a great season in NFL, just under 65 units gained. Number 1 at WagerTalk with a 20.5 ROI. It's been a great season. And Sundays, 19-2-2 the last 6 Sundays. I don't know what's in the water on Sundays. Could be holy water. Let's hope it continues this weekend. With that said, Andrew, this last game is an interesting one because you've got the Bruins and Winnipeg. Hellebuck is confirmed in this one. It looks like it's going to be Allmark. And I talked about Allmark hasn't been having the same season as he had last year, where he was standout and playing extremely well. And I took the over in their game against Minnesota, and that one goes to OT, finishes 4-3. I'm pivoting here, and I'm taking the under. I think this is one of those games. If you look at historically, these games between Boston and Winnipeg the last few years have been low-scoring games. You've got Winnipeg in there with obviously their number 1 goalie in goal, and the Bruins they just need to start grinding out some wins. They've lost a couple games in OT, and it's very unlikely the Bruins, or it's not common that the Bruins normally lose 3-4 games in a row. They're such a solid team, and they're doing much better than I expected this season. Whether regression kicks in or not, we'll have to see. But this is one of those games where I feel like Boston comes in. I don't want to take a side, even though the Bruins are favored in this one. I think the Bruins grind out one of those low-scoring games where it finishes like 3-2. So the total's at 5.5, and it's shaded 20 cents to the over. So we're getting even money on the under. 5.5s are tough to take the unders, but I feel this is the type of game where if you're going to take a 5.5, it's the right spot. So I'm taking under 5.5 in this game, and then I'm going to have a player prop in this as part of the show best bet. Andy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, we've gone through 2 games, and I haven't done a same game parlay yet. So let's do a same game parlay on this one. I'll tell you what, Carm, I would love a 3-2 game. I would love a 3-2 game. It's the first leg of this parlay. This one is on FanDuel. I'm going to take the over 4.5 total goals because I'm with you, Carm. The Boston Bruins, they've been in some of these lower scoring games. I think we lowered a couple goals. I think it gets over. If we're looking at just the 4.5 total, Winnipeg has gone over in 6 out of 7. Boston's gone over this in 9 out of their last 11 road games. And these two teams average over 3 goals a game. Winnipeg's at 3.35. Boston's at 3.17. So that's the first leg, over 4.5 total goals. Pastrnak to have 3+ shots on goal. This guy has 56 shots on goal in the last 8 games. It's laughable. It's insane. He's averaging over 5 shots on goal per game. So I don't want to take a big number on Pasta. I'll just take him to get 3+. And then I'll add the Bruins plus 1.5 on the puck line. That's plus 1.5. The last 3 losses for Boston have come in overtime. This was covered in 8 out of their last 9 games. So they get you right to around minus 105, close to even money. So over 4.5 total goes, Pasta to have 3+ shots on goal, and the Bruins plus 1.5 on the puck line for your holiday same game parlay.
Good stuff, Andy. And I got a follow-up question for you. I want to ask you, do you find that even though people think same game parlays are better for like totals with 6.5 or 7, sometimes it can almost be better with a 5.5?
Yeah, it just depends on the game situation. Like when you look at Boston, you see all those overtime games. Like when they get to overtime, you're like, okay, well, we're gonna get another goal. So like I don't really look at the entire game totals. It's kind of team dependent. I don't like doing same game parlays with teams that are inconsistent. So I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head some of these teams that you just can't get a good read on. So same game parlays, they're only applicable to a certain number of teams. The Bruins is one of them because they play close games. So that plus 1.5 is valuable on the puck line. Pasta is going to be firing a million shots away. So Bruins is one of those teams that I focus on with the same game parlays, regardless of the total.
They're a good team for it, and right now they're top heavy, and they've also the guys are saying right now in the YouTube chat they're talking about the health of the Bruins. They're getting healthier, as mentioned earlier, and this is a team that I think I want money on right now. I want to bet on this team. When I look at Winnipeg, they just don't seem to have the same vibe that they had a couple weeks ago. They are more sloppy in their own end. They're getting back to being the old Winnipeg that relies on their goaltending to do it all for them. And you just can't rely on Hellebuck to kind of save you every single night. Looking at some of Winnipeg's wins, besides that that back-to-back against LA and Colorado, a lot of them have been a little bit easier in weeks past. And I just think that some of their expected goal numbers have not matched up to what they're actually doing. And I look at that game for them against Detroit. Sure, they put up 5, but Detroit's not playing very well at all right now. I just think that this is a team overall overachieving in Winnipeg that I think that, I'm a watcher. I watch a ton of hockey. When I look at these games, they're giving up a ton of chances, a ton of shots. Meanwhile, Boston, they've struggled in games, but games I think they might have deserved a better fate. They're getting healthier as well. And something of note, guys, I like looking towards road teams when you're close to a holiday break and when you're coming back from a holiday break. I just find the road teams are more focused. I just think that teams that are on the road, it's more like a business trip. If you're at home, you're with your family, you're doing some stuff in the community, whatever you're doing, it's kind of like within your routine, except for it's being distracted by other stuff going on with the holidays. When you hop on that team jet, and you get to do your stuff, it feels like just a regular game. And I kind of like that idea of betting on these road teams that I believe are a little bit more focused. So I'll take Boston. And Carm, you have a wardrobe change, is it? What is this, a concert? You got a new hat? How many hats do you have,
Yes.
man?
It's because I'm going full like commando. They need to win this 6 and 60. So this hat with the army fatigue hat is in honor of the 6 and 60 because I'm going to war. I am not donating. I am what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, I'm at a loss for words, is what I am. But the 6 and 60 today will be brought to you by Pobody Nerfic, one of the guys in our chat who's normally in our chat. I think he's a Leaf fan. And I was joking around about let's get the likes up to 67, which is also the last year the Leafs won the Stanley Cup. I messaged all my Toronto friends yesterday asking them. I told them my internet's down. Can you guys tell me what the score of the Leafs Sabres game is? Not one guy replied, and it's just because they got lit up by the Sabres, allowing 9 goals. Man, if you looked at that arena yesterday, it was all white and blue Leaf jerseys in Buffalo. It was like a home game for the Leafs, man. That must have been a long ride home for them. But with that said, Andrew, should we get into the 6 and 60? What do you think?
The mic is yours, man. Let's see what the power of that hat can do.
The power of the hat. I don't know. If it doesn't, it's going to get tossed because yesterday, after my first 2 plays lost, I was checking to see what time Best Buy opened up this morning because I was pretty sure I was going to need some new electronics last night. But thankfully, my other 2 plays won. All right, Dan, our producer Dan, who's Philadelphia Eagles, we still believe in. Let's hit the clock on this one. Are we set to go? I love you, Dan. All right, let's go. Leafs and Columbus. Leafs embarrassed in Buffalo last night, and they lost 6-5 at home to this Columbus team. Pride, revenge, and some goals on Saturday, over 6.5. Buffalo and the Rangers. I'm going to take the Rangers in regulation. Shesterkin will start in goal tomorrow. The Sabres beat the Rangers in New York 5-1. They're not going to do that again. Rangers regulation. Detroit and New Jersey, over 6.5. Devils off a home loss to the Oilers. Wings likely starting Hutchinson in goal tomorrow. We're going to see some goals. Chicago and St. Louis. Blues money line. Blues 3-1 with their new coach. And Chicago's on the second of a back-to-back. They play tonight against Montreal. Seattle and Anaheim. Release the Kraken. 3-0-2. Unbeaten run for this team. Seattle money line. And then finally, San Jose and Vancouver. Vancouver on the puck line. San Jose's gotten back to their early season form where they stunk. Let's take Vancouver minus 1.5 in this one. That's your 6 and 60.
Boom. No crowd for you this time. No crowd. The crowd's on vacation. The crowd's getting ready for holiday break.
6-0. 6-0. 6-0. Come on.
Best of luck, Carm.
6-0.
I like those picks, and I also like fading the Sharks.
Yeah. The Sharks have reverted back to who they were earlier in the season. They put together that nice little thing, but look at them the last few games. They're just not looking good. And God, I don't even know what is going on with the Leafs right now. 3 losses in their last 4 games. Those 3 losses, they've allowed 20 goals in those losses. Who knows what's happening with the Leafs, but it's usually a quick cure for them. So we'll see. But I'm not taking the Leafs in Columbus. I'll just look for some goals. The Blue Jackets can surprise a lot of teams, and they have done it this season. So we'll see how that goes. And just to mention a couple of the other ones in there.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
I was just going to say. And then we talk about these coaching changes.
Prez finds a way to bring up movies, Andy. Carm finds a way to rip the Leafs even when they aren't playing tonight.
I know.
I am going to record
this.
I am going to record a video. Well, I'm going to record a video when I'm downtown Toronto. They don't sell Viva seltzers here, and this isn't an ad, okay? But I'm going to turn it into an ad. I'm going to be downtown with my friends when there's a Leaf game going on, and I'm going to walk up to someone, and I brought a 6-pack back from Vegas and go, have you ever tried a Viva seltzer? let the guy try. He goes, "Oh, this is good." He goes, "Yeah." And with Viva Seltzers, you're always, unlike the Leafs, you're always guaranteed a second round, and see if the guy gets the joke or not. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm just, I'm a shit disturber. What can I tell you?
You
When you
love it.
live in Toronto and you
You
have to
love
listen
doing
to
it.
these incessant fans day in and day out, you gotta fight back every once in a while.
Well, how about Andy's Colts and Pacers? What a year for those teams. Little bit better, maybe better than expectations, Andy. But Andy, hope you have a Merry Christmas, man, and a happy birthday. What do you have going tonight, this weekend, and what's your best bet for the show?
Well, really, it's just use the promo code so you can get the 7-day pass, so you could lock in all the plays. We're just running hot in all the sports. 3-0 in our last week of NHL plays. We've got darts plays, 18-9 this week on those, 31-10 in the NFL, 13-4 in college football, and been real low volume in NBA. Only had 2 plays over the last week, hit both of those. So just use the promo code birthday30, gets $30 off a 7-day pass at checkout. Take advantage of all these holiday profits, guys. There's a lot of sports, all percentages. I talked earlier about trying to find these guys that you can ride for a while, and this is one guy that I am going to ride for a while, and this is a client play, so I'll just read you the write-up and give you my thoughts on it. It's Alex Iafallo under half a point, so we were just betting on him to not have a point. This is the write-up that clients received. So Iafallo's first season with the Jets has resulted in not a lot of points so far, and I think it continues. He only has 15 points through 31 games, but he only has a point in 8 of those games. 4 of his points actually came in one game, and he hasn't had a point in 16 out of the last 17 games. His minutes have gone down. He played 17-34 in November, but he's down at 14 minutes per game in December, and he gets a Bruins team that is rested, ready for a win. They've lost 3 out of 4 with all games going to overtime. The Jets have won 7 out of 9 games. They're playing well, but in their losses, they only scored 2 goals. And Iafallo only has 1 game and 1 point in those 7 wins. So I expect it to be a tough game for Winnipeg and for Iafallo to not have a point again. I will keep playing this. Let's hope to string together 3 or 4 wins in a row. It's a bit juicy, but it's been working for us this season. That is my show best bet.
Great stuff, Andy. Best of luck this weekend, man. And I like those bets for someone not to have a point. But, man, it's frustrating when you have that in the first goal of the game. They're having an assist. Like Carm talks about having to buy new electronics. Man, I bet Alex Killorn to not have a point. And it was the first time I ever did it, and he got a point like immediately that game. That's frustrating. But as you mentioned, you got to ride those streaks. You can't be in there for just one game. You got to be in there for multiple. For me this weekend, guys, I'll use the promo code TAKE20. I keep mentioning it. Take 20% off any package up and available at WagerTalk. I've got a 4% NFL side, a 4% NFL total, liking the NHL card as well. One best bet up in college basketball for today, and just kind of several small plays today in the NHL, but you guys have kind of heard a lot of what I like. And I'm going to actually take the Montreal Canadiens today, minus 105 for my best bet. They're a team that when they play lesser opponents, they play really well. Obviously, when they're not a great team themselves on a large scale, they can't take a bad team lightly. They're playing the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks have not been there offensively lately, struggling to score, struggling to create chances. And despite a loss last night in Minnesota, Canadians played very well. It's very rare for the Canadians to have better expected goal numbers than their opponent and actually lose the game. That's what's been happening to this Canadians team. A lot of times when they lose right now, they're still actually performing at a high level and creating a ton of chances. So I will take them at minus 105. I feel like they're a deeper team right now. They're creating more chances. And as I mentioned early in the show on PuckTime, I like betting on road teams before holiday break. So I will do that today here with the Montreal Canadiens on the money line. Carm, what do you have for us?
Yeah, that's just make sure I'm not muted. That Take 20 is a good deal. I would say pick up a 7-day all access package. Even if there's no hockey on Monday or Tuesday, and I click on the pass button, it just extends it for you a couple extra days. So you get some more NHL, but my NFL plays for Sunday and Monday are loaded. I'm just going to finish up the write-ups and then they'll be available for sale. But if you pick up the 7-day all access, you'll get them right away. NHL plays for today, soccer for today and tomorrow. So plenty of action for me across all sports. Um, my shot prop, Andrew, it's I had to stop for a second. I'm correlating this with the Bruins tonight in the sense of you look at the Bruins when they win, Marchand is getting shots on goal. When he's not getting the shots on goal, and maybe he's trying to play setup guy or what have you, he just does it. They don't win. They've lost 3 of their last 4. He was under his total in 3 of his last 4 games. Those were the losses for the Bruins. But he has gone over the total in 7 of his last 10, and his shot prop is at 2.5 minus 125. Winnipeg's not a team that obviously give up a lot of shots, but the Bruins in need of a win. I think Marchand as their best player, him and Pasta, of course, comes to the forefront for this team and gets some shots on goal, gets in there, stirs things up. And I think he goes over his prop total tonight. So over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 125 for Brad Marchand tonight in Winnipeg is the best bet. We hit with Clayton Keller last night. I don't know where he got that third shot on goal. I'm not really sure. It mysteriously appeared at the end of the game, but I was pretty happy because they gave us the over 2.5. And it's always good to catch those ones when a shot mysteriously appears in your favor. Maybe the guy who's doing the NHL stats is also betting shot props. So who knows? He clicked the button. With that said, guys, listen, this is our last show before Christmas. Everyone celebrates a different thing. So it's easy to say happy holidays. For myself, I celebrate Christmas. So it's Bon Natale, Merry Christmas. But to all of you who celebrate different versions of it, happy holidays. We appreciate you guys always tuning in and commenting in the live chat and in the video afterwards. Guys, have a safe and happy holidays with your families. Make some memories.
Great stuff, Carm. Yeah, it's a great time for everybody. And because it is a betting show, I want to reiterate something that Andy always says, and he said on Prop It Up. Manage your bankrolls, guys. Make your bets before you start drinking rum and eggnog or whatever you do drink on Christmas Day. Don't get carried away. Don't chase your losses. Make Christmas a fun one. Make the holiday season a fun one. Have a great weekend, guys. Best of luck. We'll see you next time right here on Puck Time.